Maybe the journey isn't about becoming, but unbecoming. I feel like a lot of the times when we think about the journey, when we think about progressing, we always think about what we want to be, what we want to become, right? But throughout our whole lives, we've acquired and gained certain traits, certain personality traits, and certain values, certain moral codes, right? But we never could control our environment. We never could control what was put around us, what we were surrounded with growing up, right? And you will often become who you surround yourself with. You often become what you surround yourself with. So when you're a kid, you can't really control your environment. You can't control where you go. You can't control who your parents are. You can't control what school you go to, the people who go to your school, right? So I feel like we have to think about maybe it's not searching who we want to be, but destroying who we are, right? Destroying who we are to then become who we want to be, unbecoming who we were built up to be when we didn't want to become that in the first place, right? Looking at, hey, what are some things about myself? What are some things about my parents that maybe I acquired? What are some things about my close friends that maybe I became that I never wanted to be, right? And you're not consciously choosing to become like those people or to adapt to your environment. It's always an unconscious thing where it just happens, right? So it's not your fault. You're not at fault for becoming the person you are, right? But it's if you don't like who you are, you have to destroy who you are now in order to rebuild yourself up, right? If you have a bad foundation and you just try to build off of that, then you're gonna crash and you're gonna burn, right? So it's destroying your foundation and rebuilding it to something else, reflecting on your childhood, reflecting on your past, right? What is it that you value, but do you really value it because you did your own research, you got to that point yourself, or was it instilled on you when you were a child? Was it instilled on you because of the people around you, right? Do you only like a certain thing because of your friends? Do you only believe a certain thing? Do you only value certain things because of your parents, because of your upbringing, right? So it's unbecoming who you are now if you don't think that who you are is who you want to be. Who you are is who you're meant to be, right? So don't try to become something without unbecoming what you don't want to be, because you are who you are and you can't just erase it in a day, right? You can't just say that's not who I want to be, so I'm not going to be that person. It's a slow process, right? To build something or to unbuild something, it always takes time. And I feel like we often try to build things without tearing down the foundations. So make sure to tear down who you are and reflect on, hey, what is it that I want to tear down and what do I want to replace it with? You don't want to tear something down just to tear it down, right? You want to tear it down and know what you want to replace it with. When somebody buys an old building, they don't buy it without having a vision for what they want in that piece of land, right? If you see some abandoned house on a piece of land, you won't buy it just cuz, and then you won't buy it and tear it down just because, right? You'll see potential in something and then you'll tear it down and rebuild it. You won't really just get rid of the windows and put new windows in and say, yeah, there it is, because the foundations of that house are still bad. that house still could have that mold or that asbestos, right? So you have to reflect on who you are, how you were raised, and if you don't agree with it now, you have to unbecome those things. And or a lot of the times it's your environment that conditions you to be a certain way, right? So it's either society has made you believe certain things, has conditioned you to be a certain way, your parents or your friends, right? And there's also those social media influencers, those celebrities, right? Those people will always influence you in a certain way. So you have to take a step back from those things, cut those things out of your life that you deem as a negative role model or a negative source. So just take a step back and really look at things that you want to be like, look at people who you want to become like, right? Because chances are there are people who have walked similar paths to you. It's not always going to be the exact same thing as you, but people people who you look up to have probably gone through similar things. You can see what they did and you can take things that you like about it and things that you don't like about it, right? No path will be the same as yours. No person is the same as you. So look at who you want to be like. Look at things that you want to become, right? And I feel like people will often not want to unbecome who they are because people are so used to who you are now, right? People are so used to the person you are, and going against who you are now will cause trouble, will make your parents, make your family, make society look at you differently. You don't want to be an outcast. You don't want to be that person with a different view. You don't want to be that person who doesn't just go with whatever other people tell you, right? You don't want to be that person to disrupt the flow. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that anomaly. You don't want to be different. That's why you don't want to unbecome, because it's a question of authenticity, right? Everybody is different, and most people are unauthentic because it's just a system, right? Everybody is conditioned to be the same. Everybody is conditioned to be like sheep, right? The herd goes this way, you go the same way as the herd, right? But the blind can't lead the blind, and you have to be willing to unbecome that sheep and really look at it through your own lens, not just following wherever the wind goes, I'll go, right? You can't be like a leaf, not standing your ground, not standing on what you believe. You have to believe in what you believe in, not what other people believe in. You have to find out what you want, who you are, and what you believe in, right? Not what other people have made you think that you believe in, what other people have made you become. So it's unbecoming who you are and what people have made you become. Tearing yourself down in order to build yourself back up. And it's a long and it's a hard process. So before you embark on it, know what you want to build, have that vision for yourself. Before you destroy the building, know what you want to replace it with. Before you unbecome who you are now, know what you want to become. You need a vision, you need an end goal, right? So I hope everyone's doing well, feeling